available on the site. Andrew?
All right, Sharon, when I ask you, what is your dream car? Something exotic and expensive may come to mind. Jade Beckman is the VP of Consumer Lending at Mountain America Credit Union, here with us for another installment of Money Monday, our favorite time of the day here on Mondays, talking about how to get ready to buy a new car. And simply put, how do we know? How do we know what kind of car? Because we don't love the dream car. We don't like the high dollar items. But how do we know exactly what we should be looking for and how much we want to spend?
Yeah, it's probably affordability is probably what we need to talk about here. It's easy to talk about the exotics and all the stuff we like, but we probably need to get beyond that if we're going to be financially sound and know really what we can afford. So the first thing that comes to mind is, the car payment itself, and that's kind of where everybody thinks, and that's exactly right. It's a big component of that, but you also have to remember there's more to owning a car than just the payment. As I'm finding out with teenage kids at home,
of course,
there's insurance, and sometimes that can be very expensive. You've got to register that thing every year. How reliable is that car? How much maintenance do you have to put in? You kind of have to take all those things into account, and I'd say you don't want the total cost of that car to be more than 20% of your income.
20% of your income, a good standard by which to live by. All right, so now that we know how much we can afford, how do you get the best financing? Because this is so confusing. You go in to buy a car, and they've got the finance guy, and they're going back and forth, and it's like, here's what we can. How do you actually get the best number on, like, say, an interest rate or whatever?
Yeah, well, I think one of the best advice I can give on this topic is to get pre-approved first. Before you go out shopping, go into your lender of choice and say, I'm kind of looking at a car in this range. Maybe I'm looking at an Accord, a 2012 Accord, and kind of get pre-approved there. So then you've got the power back in your court. You know what you can afford, and you've got that ability. We've talked a lot about credit scores and things in some of our previous ones. Well, this is when that comes into play. You don't want to be where you're talking about at the finance desk and now find out, surprise.
Oh man.
Oh, I have some credit issues.
Yeah.
That's part of the benefit of doing that prior to that period too.
You always see these deals on TV for like 0% financing. I know that seems too good to be true. Is that really the case sometimes?
Well, it does seem like it's too good to be true, but that is a legitimate offer. There are 0% financing out there. Now, one thing to keep in mind when we're talking about 0%, this is almost exclusively new. Every once in a while used, but it's almost exclusively new. This is the manufacturer, Ford, Honda, whoever, giving an incentive rather than knocking off the price, giving an incentive to buy. And it can be a great deal, but there's a couple of things to keep in mind. One is what term is that 0%. Sometimes that'll be a short term, a 24 or 36 month. Not always, but you need to be aware of that. And the second is, how does that equate to the rebate? A lot of times it's a choice. You can get the rebate or you can get the 0% financing. Sometimes you're better off to take the $5,000 or whatever the rebate is off the top and get market rate financing, which is really low right now anyway.
Especially if you're trying to pay it off pretty quickly. Where can we go for some more information? I know your guys' website has a lot of tools. Yeah, a lot of calculators and things so you can kind of figure out that affordability that we're talking about. MACU.com is a great place to go, or come see us. Jade Beckman, appreciate you coming in. It is a Money Monday, as always. We'll get you set here for everything on Money Mondays, every Monday here